Good day, dear students. I am Hilola Rahimova, Senior Teacher of the Urgen State University. The topic of this video lesson is English Literature in the 18th Century. This period covers the years between 1700 up to 1798. The 18th century English literature is also called the Age of Enlightenment. So, what is Enlightenment itself? The term characterizes the development of science and arts and the triumph of reason over ignorance in the 17th and 18th centuries. Enlighteners were given this name because they considered enlightenment to be the only means by which reorganization of society could be brought about. The enlighteners wanted to bring knowledge, that is, light, to the people. There are also other names of this period. For example, it is also called the Age of Reason, because anything could be achieved through the calm working on the human mind, enlighteners say. Another title for this period is the Age of Classicism. In all the arts there was a fascination with ancient Greece and Rome. Next title of the Age of Enlightenment is the Age of Elegance. It displayed among the upper classes an elegant style of life. Now let's look through the general features of the Age of Enlightenment in England. Creative works show a sense of order and moderation. Authors display their cleverness, but not their heart and soul. Arguments in prose are calm and logical. Poems are carefully structured and often contain classical allusions. Allusion is a literary term regarding the use of an implied or indirect reference to a person, place, thing, or idea. Some writers satirize elegant society or politics. It is also called the Augustan Age. It is a reference to the prosperous Rome of Emperor Augustus, when commerce and great literature thrived. Augustan literature is sometimes divided into two periods, each named for its most influential man of letters. First of them is the Age of Pope, after Alexander Pope, and the second one, the Age of Johnson, after Samuel Johnson. Now let's talk about Alexander Pope, who was born in 1688 and died in 1744. Alexander Pope was a great satirist, and his Rape of Lock is considered his greatest verse satire. He also wrote pastoral poetry, and he also wrote essays. His most famous essays are Essay on Criticism and Essay on Man. Samuel Johnson is another influential person of that period. So he was born in 1709 and died in 1784. Samuel Johnson was a critic, poet, playwright, essayist, lexicographer, and biographer. His most famous poem is The Vanity of Human. He wrote 10 volumes of critical biographies, and the most famous one is titled Lives of Poets. Samuel Johnson was the first writer of the Dictionary of the English Language. James Boswell was born in 1740 and died in 1789, was another representative of the Enlightenment in the English literature. James Boswell wrote the first modern biography, which is named The Life of Samuel Johnson. It was written in 1789. He also wrote non-fiction works, and some of them are listed here. For example, an account of Corsica and Journal to a Tao to Hebrides. Jonathan Swift is famous all over the world. He was born in 1667 and died in 1745. He was the 18th century greatest prose writer. He also wrote satires. For example, A Tale of a Top. It is a poem that ridicules the extravagancies of religion, literature, and academia. Second of his satires is The Battle of the Books. It is a mock debate between ancient and modern writers. Jonathan Swift's masterpiece is famous all over the world. Both young and old know this masterpiece very well. So it is Gulliver's Travels. It was written in 1726, and it is a parody. What's a parody itself? A parody is an imitation of a particular writer or a genre, exaggerating it deliberately to produce a comic effect. So Gulliver's Travels is a parody to politicians, parody to the society, parody to scientists, and parody to the king. Joseph Addison and Richard Steele, they worked together in collaboration, and their work is one of the most famous literary collaborations in the English literature. Together they wrote literary journals, The Tatler and The Spectator. Daniel Defoe was born in 1660 and died in 1731. Daniel Defoe is also very famous all over the world. He wrote novels. We should say that he wrote he was the first writer who wrote realistical novels. A realistical novel is a novel which is based on real facts or real stories. Among his novels we can list Robinson Crusoe, which is very famous all over the world and translated to nearly all languages. Next novel is Captain Singleton, Captain Jack, Moll Flanders, and Lady Roxana. He also wrote the travel book which is named Tour Through the Whole Island of Great Britain. We should separately speak about the emergence of the novel, because in the 18th century great attention was paid to the novel, and this genre was the leading genre in the English literature. So what is a novel? First of all, novel is a lengthy fictional story with a plot that is revealed by the speech, action, and thoughts of characters. Such types of the novels emerged at that period, such as Gothic novel, novel of manners, novels of sentiment, and picaresque novel. Gothic novel is a type of fiction that is usually characterized by gloomy castles, ghosts, and supernatural or sensational happenings, creating a mysterious, chilling, and sometimes frightening story. An example of the Gothic novel is titled Mysteries of Udolpho, written by Anne Radcliffe. Novels of manners is a type of fiction that recreates the social world, conveying the customs, values, and mores through detailed observation. Maria Edgeworth's Belinda is a good example of the novel of manners. Novel of sentiment is a type of fiction which is characterized by extreme emotion. And one example of the sentimental novel is Clarissa, which is written by Samuel Richardson. Picaresque novel. Picaresque novel is a type of fiction consisting of a lengthy string of loosely connected events. It usually features the adventures of a rogue, a scamp, living by his wits in the middle-class society. And one example of such novel is The Adventures of Roderick Random, which was written by Tobias Smollett. Pre-Romantic poets William Blake, Robert Burns, and Thomas Gray also started their creative work at the end of the 18th century. And we will talk about pre-Romantic poets in the next lessons. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.